Hello, I'm Esther Githui-Ewart. Welcome to Africa 54. Here's what's coming up.
3 Americans released in a historic prisoner exchange with Russia, marking the largest prisoner swap between the United States and Russia since the Cold War. Demonstrators in Nigeria protest across the nation again on Friday to show their discontent with economic reforms that have led to a cost of living crisis. And in our entertainment segment, Music Time in Africa host Heather Maxwell showcases Tanzania's rising talent, singer, songwriter, composer, and guitarist Damian Soul. All this and much more coming up on today's Africa 54.
A historic deal. Americans, including Paul Whelan, Alsu Kulmasheva, and Ivan Gashkovich, are freed from Russian prisons. The swap involves 16 political prisoners exchanged for 8 individuals requested by the Kremlin. With Liam Scott and Christina Caicedo-Smith, Jessica Juret has the story.
Touching down in Ankara, Turkey Thursday, a deal not seen since the Cold War.
Today we're bringing home Paul, Evan, Alsu, Vladimir, 3 American citizens and 1 American green card holder. All 4 have been imprisoned unjustly in Russia.
Among those headed home from Russian prisons, journalists Evan Gershkovich, Alsu Kulmasheva, and former US Marine Paul Whelan, and Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist Vladimir Kara-Murza. In total, months of negotiation secured the release of 16 people, including 5 wrongfully detained Germans and 7 Russian citizens, in return for 8 Russians held in the US, Germany, Poland, Norway and Slovenia. Flanked by the families of the Americans unjustly held, President Joe Biden says the deal is down to a, quote, feat of diplomacy and friendship.
Multiple countries helped get this done. They joined the difficult, complex negotiations at my request, and I personally thank them all again.
Top of Moscow's list, Vadim Krazakov, a convicted killer who was jailed in Germany. Whelan is the longest detained American in Thursday's swap. Arrested in Moscow in 2018, the veteran had been serving a 16-year prison term in a penal colony. Both he and the US have rigorously denied the spy charges against him. Wall Street Journal reporter Gershkovich was also imprisoned on espionage charges that he vehemently denied. The Moscow correspondent had spent 490 days in prison, and Kulmasheva spent nearly 10 months in prison. The Prague-based editor works for VOA's sister network, Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, or RFE-RL. Russia has designated the independent station a so-called foreign agent and undesirable, which, under the country's law, carries an increased threat of legal action.
It is very risky for many journalists that we employ. And they are really on the front lines and putting their lives at risk all the time.
As families and supporters of those freed celebrate, analysts say Russia's targeting of critics and media is cutting audiences off from rare sources of independent news. With Liam Scott and Christina Caicedo-Smith in Washington, Jessica Juret, VOA News.
A new report by the Famine Early Warning Systems Network indicates that famine is currently ongoing in Sudan's Zamzam camp for internally displaced persons. Zamzam is about 12 kilometers south of the regional capital, El Fasher. The report says there is possible starvation.
5 million are suffering from emergency levels of food insecurity across Sudan. It's been more than a year of intense conflict, and most families have depleted their resources and coping strategies. Some of them have sold belongings and assets such as livestock to be able to purchase food and other essential items. Our team in Central Darfur reports in some health clinics that Mercy Corps supports, roughly 3 to 4 children are dying per day of malnutrition-related causes.
Many organizations are very cautious to declare a famine. Would you say that what you saw in Sudan meets the criteria that this should be declared as a famine?
As you mentioned, the Famine Review Committee pointed out in their report released yesterday that North Darfur is confirmed to have famine conditions. And as you rightly point out, the report stipulates that this could potentially apply to other states and localities in IPC Phase 5 hunger, such as the remaining Darfur states, the Kordofans, Al Jazeera, and Khartoum. But for them, there's not enough data to make a determination. For us as Mercy Corps, it's less about whether a formal famine declaration will be announced. We're seeing the tragic effects happening now. We're seeing children dying of malnutrition. We're seeing households struggling to come up with daily meals. We're seeing humanitarian aid blocked from reaching its intended targets. And Esther, quite frankly, the heartbreaking reality of all this is that the window to significantly reduce the impact of what we're seeing as the largest hunger crisis in decades is rapidly closing. This is because the IPC data and the data that the FRC reviews is lagging indicators, meaning that by the time they review those pieces of data, it's most likely already too late to act and save lives.
You know, Beret, what do we as aid organizations like Mercy Corps and others that are working in Sudan need to do to save lives?
Yeah, Mercy Corps and along with numerous other aid organizations, we need unimpeded humanitarian access to reach the hardest areas of Sudan. The Darfurs, the Kordofans, Al Jazeera, parts of Khartoum. We need the political dialogues to yield positive outcomes towards a peaceful resolution to the conflict. And we need a well-funded, well-coordinated, well-mobilized international donor community to step up its aid commitments.
And what do you want the world to know about this crisis? There's so much about the war. We talk about the RSF, the Rapid Support Forces, and the Sudanese army. But what else besides those two fighting? What is the toll that this has taken on the people of Sudan?
In the coming days and weeks, I think the world will be debating whether or not official famine thresholds have been met. But they also need to know that this is a purely man-made crisis that is primarily conflict-induced, meaning that until the guns and airstrikes and drone strikes and everything else that is happening conflict-wise in Sudan is silenced, that hunger will continue to stalk the people of Sudan. This is especially important now as Sudan is in its lean season. And aid impediments continue, that we believe the hunger situation will continue to deteriorate over the coming weeks and months.
Beret, thank you so much for your insight. Beret Alexander is the Director of Programs at Mercy Corps, Sudan. Demonstrators are again on the streets of Nigeria Friday protesting food shortages and alleged bad governance. Many Nigerian citizens are some of the world's poorest, despite the nation's being one of the continent's top oil producers. Police were on high alert after some demonstrations turned violent. Timothy Obiezu has more from Abuja.
This is the second day of the demonstrations, and the scenes are not any different from the day before. In fact, police authorities are more brutish in their efforts to quell the protests, using tear gas on just anybody out here, including journalists. Thousands have taken to the streets to denounce President Bola Tinubu's economic policies and call for an end to bad governance. Literally everyone we have interviewed since the start of the protests have criticized the lavish lifestyle of Nigerian politicians, while they say the people are unable to afford basic things like food.
There's no food. Tell Buhari and Tinubu or whoever is there, they should listen to the people. That is why they are in the seats. They should listen to us. We are not asking for much. Today now, the peaceful protest turned violent from police side. We did not do anything. Look, I ran to the bush for safety. They opened fire on us. They threw tear gas. Even when we were inside the bush, they were still throwing tear gas for us in the bush.
Tinubu announced the fuel subsidy was gone last May, shortly after taking office, and soon after that, he floated the national currency, the naira. These decisions sent food and commodity prices soaring. Similar demonstrations have hit many Nigerian cities and in some places turned fatal. Local media reports about 11 people have been killed so far. We could not independently verify that claim, but some state authorities are introducing curfews to try to control the tension. 2 weeks ago, Nigerian lawmakers promised to donate 50% of their salaries for 6 months to the most vulnerable.
We have a lineup of demands for the government, and until government answers us, we are not going to leave the street. It's very unfortunate. It's unbelievable. I've never seen, in the whole world where government will order their security operative to shoot at protesters or to shoot tear gas.
Meanwhile, authorities are yet to speak about the demonstrations. Last week, the government tried to negotiate and even threatened protesters not to march the streets, citing concerns of the protests descending into chaos. These protests are not holding in the southeast of Nigeria, where separatists are trying to break away and form an independent state known as Biafra. Timothy Obiezu, VOA News, Abuja, Nigeria.
Turning now to Paris Olympic Games. Joining me is Mukbil Yabaru, VOA sports analyst and host of our Olympics podcast, Chasing Gold. Hello, Mukbil. The Paris Olympics are exciting, as you know. Tell us about South Sudan's men's basketball team and who they'll be playing against and what you think might happen.
Yeah, absolutely. South Sudan has been phenomenal. It's already been a historic run for them, right? This is their very first time being in the Olympics basketball. They are ranked 33rd in the world, the only African team to be in the competition at the moment. They're in what they call the group of death, which is with the U.S. being ranked number 1, Serbia being ranked number 4, and Puerto Rico being ranked number 16th. And they've already beat Puerto Rico. They played really well against the U.S. in the initial exhibition game, but Serbia, if they beat Serbia, they go on to the next stage.
So how many African countries have received medals so far, and can we expect more?
At the moment is a bit slow for the continent. Only 3 countries have medaled so far, which is South Africa with 4. We have Tunisia and Egypt as well. But as we are making our way into the weekend, we have track and field is very, very strong for Africa. So we are expecting a little bit more coming up in the weekend.
Track and field, we're expecting something. Which countries you think are likely to bring some medals to the continent?
I would say, you know, longer distances, if we're thinking 5,000, 10,000s, you're expecting your usual suspects, Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia, Eritrea. But you never know, even for the shorter distances nowadays.
Wow. Now, who are the big named stars that will be competing over the weekend?
We got to talk about this young man, Ferdinand Omanyala, 100-meter sprinter, Kenyan. Usually Kenya is known for longer distances, so I'm really interested to see what he does. Noah Lyles as well, the American who's trying to double, Keyshawn Thompson, and then for the women, Sha'Carri Richardson and Sharika Jackson from Jamaica.
You have something more?
I could go all day.
On and on. All right, Mukbil, we'll be looking forward to it, definitely.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. All right. Now, that was Mukbil Yabaru, live for us here in the studio with sports. I got lost.
Corruption is said to undermine justice and the rule of law in societies. On this week's episode of Our Voices, we'll explore how women especially are affected by corruption as they seek access to their basic needs, health services, even when they seek to climb the ladder in leadership. We discuss this and more. Join the conversation each week right here on Our Voices.
You're watching VOA's Red Carpet. My name is Jackson Vunganyi. Thank you so much for joining us each week right here on Red Carpet. We bring you the latest in
And still to come on our Africa 54, we have in the studio here Tanzanian artist Damian Soul. Stay with us. He's going to perform live. But in other news, separatist rebels in northern Mali say they have killed dozens of fighters from the Russian mercenary group Wagner and government troops near the Algerian border. The Tuareg-led separatists say they killed 84 Wagner fighters and 47 Malian soldiers in 3 days of intense fighting that began on July 25th at a military camp in northeastern Mali. And Zimbabwean lawyers for human rights groups say police have arrested 18 political activists in what is being criticized as another clampdown on opposition by President Emmerson Mnangagwa. They have been demanding the release of 77 opposition supporters that have been held in pre-trial detention for 6 weeks. Authorities are halting any new protests ahead of a summit of Southern African leaders on August 17th. This is a presidential election year in the United States, and there are lots of local elections across the nation. In Prince George's County, Maryland, we introduce you to another Cameroonian running for office. Leo Bachi Eyombo is a candidate for a vacant at-large seat on the county council. Eyombo has an Ivy League education with decades of clinical experience, teaching and healthcare management. In his own words, Eyombo talks about why he is running for office in this report produced by VOA's Philip Alexiou.
How was your day?
Good. Oh, this is nice.
Thank you.
I'm going to take this and plug you into the stand or podium.
My name is Leo B. Eyombo, and I'm originally from Cameroon. I came to the U.S. in 1986. I was about 13, 14 years old. My grandfather was a superintendent of school for the local school district in Cameroon. My dad worked as an accountant for the light company. I was just a regular kid. Play around, play soccer, you know, go to school and come back home. It's nothing special.
Welcome back. The special election for the county's council's at-large seat is exactly 2 weeks away.
I am presently at the county TV station, Prince George's County TV station, and I'm about to get an interview on why I decided to run for the county seat. PG County Schools, I mentioned earlier on that I'm a graduate, a proud graduate of PG County Schools, but the curriculum is obsolete. I had been involved in politics all along. In the early 90s, there was a lot of stagnation, political stagnation in PG County. And as a young man, I got involved in the term limits in the county. So people could stay there forever. Like in Africa, they could stay there forever. And they could down the seats. They could give it to their grandkids. So we got involved, and we had a ballot, we put it on a ballot, a referendum, and the people 2-to-1 voted to actually keep the term limits. And now, those term limits were due to expire in 2016. What the county did was, in order to extend their terms, they created a position called an at-large council seat. And that's why I'm not running for any district seat. I'm actually running for the at-large seat because I want to prevent some of these people from getting the extended time on the council. After here, I have to go to a forum at the public library in New Carrington, Maryland. So how's the race so far? So there will be a forum there. Life has evolved. I credit Sudan through my Ivy League education, where I had no imposter syndrome. I went out there, I did well in school. Why? Because of the fundamentals that came out of Sudan High School. And after being in healthcare for 20 years, being a professor for 20 years, being an educator, researcher, scientist, I think I can contribute a lot to PG County Council. Fantastic. Yeah, guess what?
I'm a teacher in the school system, and we've had the same curriculum.
So that's why I was trying to say that the whole area will be done. Yeah. The crowd was about 100, maybe 150 people. Exchange was good, and I look forward to more of these. My mom passed away, but my mom actually, in 2022, actually got me my logo for my campaign. That if you vote for my son, it will be a vote you will not regret. So he said he was well brought up, and he would not fail you. So that's a motto that my mother actually put on my campaign. So vote for me. It's a vote you would not regret. The message I have for Cameroonians back home is to get involved. You have to get skin in the game. If you want any change of any kind, you have to be directly involved in order to seek for change.
The special primary election takes place Tuesday, August 6th. It's time for Entertainment Report, and Heather Maxwell has a special guest from Tanzania. Hello, Heather.
Hello, Esther. Hello, everyone. Yes, Damian Soul has been in the music business for nearly a decade as a songwriter, a rapper, singer, and guitarist. And he's currently in the United States, where he joins us here in the studio to tell us more about what is going on. Hello, Damian. Welcome.
Hello, Heather.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. So what are you doing in the United States?
I came here for a performance at one of the biggest festivals in New York called International African Arts Festival, IAAF, which has been there for 53 years. So they were actually celebrating 53 years anniversary of the festival. And the festival has a huge reputation, like we had mega stars, legend from Africa who performed there, like such a Fela Kuti, Yuma Sekela, but also even here in America, like James Brown, Lauryn Hill.
We're talking back in the past.
Yeah,
James
yeah,
Brown.
but back in the days.
But it's 53 years is a long time.
53 years, but this festival has been there. But so for me, it was a privilege to get the same platform, to perform on the same platform that other legends performed as well. So,
is this your first time in the United States?
Yeah, my first time in the U.S. and I came there I came here for that performance, but also doing like a media tour and meet and greet, and getting to learn new culture, exchanging culture values from Africa and America. Yeah.
So glad you're here. You've got your guitar. I heard you sing already. You're warming up. What are you going to play for us?
I just want to greet my people all around the world. The song is called Mapopo. It was also one of the major songs in Eastern Central Africa. But the song is about greetings, you know, so peace, shalom, assalamu alaikum. So Mapopo is the name of the song. Mapopo means bird, so also it means this is for the party people that you don't see them during the day, you see them at night.
Okay.
Alaikum salam, ninatuma zangu salamu zikufikie salamu, salimini salama, Afrika dunia nzima, eyekeye koko, sikiliza kinanda kutoka Dar es Salaam, salama, salimini salama, ninatuma zangu salamu, salam, assalamu alaikum salama. Mapo, 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 mapo.
Beautiful. Very beautiful. Mapopo.
Mapopo.
And you have a music video on that song, don't you?
Yeah,
I was watching that.
Exactly. So you can find this music in all digital music platforms, like all major digital music platforms. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music.
Now, I understand also that you have a surprise for us today.
Yeah.
What is it?
What a pleasure. What an honor to be in VOA with you.
Yes.
Oh, lovely.
And you have a song.
Yeah, I have a song, a brand new song which will come out on the 16th of August, so next Friday. But I would love to, you know, share like as exclusivity, so to give people a tease of what is coming out soon from Damian Soul. So one of my new projects. It's an amazing song, which I've never done this genre, like doing like a Afro house fusion.
All right, well, let's listen.
Yeah.
We have a few seconds. Let's listen.